Do you ever wonder the thoughts and feelings of parents of children who have left their home? How has their life changed, if it's changed at all? Do they feel feelings of sadness or happiness? And overall, do occupational therapists have a role in this life transition? That's what me and my research partner Amanda wanted to explore during our research process. My name is Nyla Hawkins, and today I will be discussing the psychosocial experiences of empty nesters and how occupational therapists play a role in this major life transition. So now I will introduce the research team. Our research advisor is Dr. Michelle DeRue, and the student occupational therapist conducting this research is Amanda Charleston and myself. So to give further background, our research project's purpose was to depict the psychosocial experiences of empty nesters based on their occupations, their identities, their roles, and routines. Therefore, we wanted to provide a context for occupational therapists to aid in major life transitions. And out of that purpose, we created our research question. What is the perceived impact on the performance patterns of empty nesters in middle adulthood, ages 40 to 65, after their adult children leave the home? Now I would like to discuss the literature review. When finding our research articles, most of them came from different regions around the world, but most of them came from Chinese studies. Our research was published mainly in 2017 to 2023, so we had the most updated research, especially when doing our critically appraised papers. The participants in this literature were middle age ranging from 40 to 65 years old, which lends to our research question. We did find a gap in terms of literature concerning how occupational therapists can play a useful role in life transitions of empty nesters. We also learned that there were positive trends regarding the mental health of couples after their adult children leave the home. We also found evidence that empty nesters need to prepare for this transition by finding meaningful roles. Otherwise, the transition can be difficult. Based on the latest evidence regarding attitudes of empty nesters, we found that there was little consensus or report based on their feelings about their adult children leaving the home. And so that indicated that empty nesters had a hard time, or they struggled with social participation. So as far as our research question, based on the findings and the gap in the literature, this didn't change our research question. Instead, it just reinforced what we were asking and what we were seeking in the beginning on how occupational therapists can play a role in this life transition. So now I would like to discuss participants and research methods that we used for our research study. In order to be a participant in our research study, you had to be considered an empty nester, meaning that your adult children could no longer live in the home with you. You had to be between the ages of 40 and 65. You could be of any marital status, and you could belong to any gender. This helped us establish our inclusion and exclusion criteria. The specific research methods that we used were convenience and snowball sampling, hoping that the participants would pass our survey on to other groups. So initially, our participants were drawn from online groups, mainly Facebook empty nester support groups. However, this did not go as we planned due to administrators not being active, so they wouldn't get back to us in a timely manner that we were hoping for. And also another big part of that was administrators were hesitant to pass our survey to other members of their groups due to them not knowing us well, or they weren't really familiar with the research we were trying to do. So that played a huge part as well. So now I would like to discuss outcome measures and deliverables for our research project. The outcome measure that we decided to use was the Occupational Performance History Interview, otherwise known as the OPHI-2. The OPHI-2 is essentially a rating scale that consists of occupational identity, competence, and settings. We use this outcome measure because it demonstrated evidence of internal validity and because it had questions about roles, habits, and life satisfaction. It is also used by other occupational therapists in different parts of the world, such as the United States, Australia, and Belgium. So in order to get the word out about our research project, we used a flyer and a script for our survey. We figured that these two deliverables would help get us participants essentially for our project. So this was the flyer that we used for our research project. It was approved by the IRB. We just wanted to make sure that it was nice and colorful so it can grab people's attention, especially with the 5-minute survey, basically telling people that it wouldn't take but 5 minutes of your time to complete. And we also had our research advisor's information if they wanted to reach out and contact her. So here are our survey questions, which consisted of demographics, such as what is your age, do you have other children who live with you, how many children have left your nest, and what is your marital status. And then you have questions that were adapted from the OPHI-2 that I was talking about earlier, that were on a Likert scale from 1 to 4. That we're asking about satisfying lifestyle, goals, interests, responsibilities, how did you fulfill roles in the past, and how did you achieve satisfaction in the past. So now I would just like to discuss the implementation process for our research project. The dates we were given to implement our project was from June to August 2023. Originally, we reached out to Facebook groups, empty nester Facebook groups specifically, but as I stated before, that didn't go as planned due to administrators not being active on their Facebook groups and some administrators not feeling comfortable distributing our survey to members of their empty nester group. There was also a matter of time and location limitations. During our implementation process, my research partner and I were in 2 different locations. So what we decided to do was to reach out and send our script to our family and friends who we knew were empty nesters. We sent them an online survey that was easily accessible, and by the time our implementation was done, we ended up with 67 responses. So now I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about our statistical analysis that we used, the methods that we used. So the Shapiro-Wilk test of normality showed that our participants' responses to our survey were not normally distributed, as our participants, they tended to choose a higher Likert scale, such as a 3 or 4. The Wilcoxon sign rank test was used to compare participants' items for changes in their satisfaction, their goals, routines, and roles during the empty nester transition. In terms of satisfaction, there was no significant change between past perceived levels of occupational performance. And lastly, we have the Spearman's rank order correlation test, which was primarily used for the relationship between our demographic variables, which were age range, how many children left, and marital status, and changes in total scores. Overall, from our research study, it demonstrated that there was no significant changes in perceived occupational performance during the empty nester transition. And here is just more statistical analysis. So we used pie charts. This particular pie chart is showing our distribution of age ranges. Then we have our test statistics that showed past satisfaction, past goals, and current goals. And the last chart at the bottom are correlations, showing how many children you have left in your nest. So now I would just like to reflect on my personal experience with our research project. As far as the IRB process, I would say it went well for us. However, we received comments that we weren't specific enough in what we were trying to accomplish with the empty nester population. So we had to go back and do some revisions, but be more specific in what we wanted to do, and eventually we got approved. So my advice for anyone going through the IRB process is be clear in your intentions about your research, because if you're not clear, you're confused about what you want to do, that's going to show when you submit your IRB application. So just be clear on your objective and your purpose for your project. I would also say that there needs to be a clear plan on how to protect your population, especially if your population is a vulnerable population like ours. We were working with empty nesters, so we really had to sit down and think about how can we be as sensitive as possible, not bringing up feelings like of vulnerability. We didn't want to upset anyone. We didn't want to bring up feelings of sadness. So all of those things are very important factors when you're doing research. As far as our upcoming dissemination, I am excited. I am a little nervous because I haven't done anything with research to this magnitude. I've never created a poster or talked to a room full of professors and students before. So it's an exciting experience, and it's a little nerve-wracking, but I'm excited to show our campus what we've done with our research, because I personally feel like our project was unique. But that is really my overall reflection. Like I said before, I've never done research to this magnitude, so this was a very educational experience for me. Thank you to everyone who watched this video, and I will see you in the discussion forum with questions.